All right, so yesterday we talked about inverses. This is inverse sine. Now, my first step on this thing, you try it right now, is to rewrite it. Can you tell me what to rewrite it as, please? Sine of theta equals 1/2. Now, that's just kind of there to help you. The real problem is the red one. The blue one's just kind of going to help you a little bit in two ways. Number one, it tells you that you need an angle. See, these are the sides over here, and it's asking you for an angle. All right, and the second thing it does is later, when I'm trying to narrow it down to a certain quadrant, it'll help me then too. All right, so then hand it off to somebody else. I asked you, pick somebody else in the room for the next part. All right, I'd like you to tell me which quadrants I can be in for inverse sine. And I'm going to call them A, S, T, and C. Which are the two that I can be in for sine? A and C, I agree. That's also known as quadrants 1 and 4. This one and this one are out. So then, if sine is really positive, pick somebody else. Sine's really positive, where do I have to be? I have to be in A. All right, so now that I'm in A, tell me what to do. Hand it off to the next person. Anybody? Anyone? Someone back there. You're going to have to pick someone back there. You can point at them if you want to. Point at somebody. All right, good. We got our volunteer, Mr. D. Tell me, what do I do with these numbers, the 1 and the 2? Okay, where are their places? Aha, opposite and hypotenuse. Opposite is 1, hypotenuse is 2. Now what? What's this other number? Very good. Okay, now what? Hand it off to somebody else. Okay, Mr. C. Okay, so you just figured out that this angle right here is 30 degrees, and you probably just did a quick cut, change over to pi over 6, or did you naturally go to pi over 6? Do you speak radians? Very good. Okay, so pi over 6 is your answer. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, good. Almost lunchtime, but not quite. All right, yesterday we did this. But now we're going to put another function inside the function. It's sort of like inception trig. All right, so cosine of 1/2, for instance. No, wait, this would have to be, what if I do a normal one? Pi over 4. So it would be something like that. And where do you think I would start? I've said this 1,000 times. I recommend you always start on the inside. On these, you have to start on the inside. And it's lunchtime. So, all right, so back from lunch. We are starting on the inside here. Why? Because that's what you do when you have nested parentheses. You start on the inside. All right, gentlemen, need your attention. All right, so to start with, I'm going to start on the inside, and I do cosine of pi over 4. So you go off to the side. Would everybody please attempt this right now? Draw me a little triangle here. You should know what pi over 4 is. What's the degrees for that one, in case you're figuring out? 45. All right. So if you're making yourself a little 45, 1, 1, square root of 2. And I just kind of assumed where to put this. I could have actually put it in any one of 4 quadrants, but only one of them would have really made sense. So I'm starting with that first quadrant. All right, so anyway, cosine's adjacent over hypotenuse, adjacent over hypotenuse, 1 over root 2. So I've just figured out this should be 1 over root 2. So now, do you get the problem has changed to sine inverse of that? So now, you just do the rewrite like we were just talking about, and you rewrite this as sine of theta is 1 over root 2. And that'll help you figure out where to draw this one new triangle. All right, and to begin with, inverse sine's only allowed in 2 spots, so it can't be here and it can't be here. And the sine has to be positive, so it must be here, it can't be there. I draw my little picture. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Opposite's 1, hypotenuse is root 2. That must be 1 root 2. It must mean it's pi over 4. Now, can you see that if I had known ahead of time, I could have just canceled off this, and my answer would be pi over 4? But I can't just tell you a nice little formula for when that's going to work and when it's not. So you cannot assume that. That will not always work. In fact, it will rarely work to just cross things off and have it be the answer in the middle. But sometimes it does. In this case, it did. All right. But I'm telling you, you'll always want to do these from the inside out. All right, I'm going to do one more with you and make sure I feel like you understand it pretty well. And then we're going to do something with this. All right. In this one, I'd like you to try cosine inverse of cosine of, let me make this one a little easier. This one's always going to be a third. Let's just do cosine of pi over 4. Okay, tag team. Because I don't want to say your name in the video. The girl with the pink pants. How do I start? All right. So I could rewrite this thing, but I'd rather have you start in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to start in the middle. Does this one need to be rewritten? No. So then it's the other thing we were saying, triangle. So if I'm going to make a triangle for this one, I do 1, 1, root 2, and I have, this is a pi over 4. Am I doing it right so far? Okay, and now cosine's what over what? And therefore in this case. Good. So I've just figured out that that is 1 over square root of 2. And now I got to move this inverse cosine down. And now you can do that thing you said before. What did you suggest I do before? Rewrite. So I'm going to do cosine of theta is equal to 1 over root 2. It tells me I need an angle. See, it's just saying, please put an angle there. Okay, tell me how to continue, guy in the blue shirt. Draw me a picture. How, where? Okay, A, S, T, C. Cosine is positive, so these can't work. Okay, and then how about this part? This also tells me something important. Where is that allowed? Yeah, A and S, so therefore it can't be C. It has to be either A or S, so therefore it must be in this quadrant right here. So I'm drawing my picture. I got cosines, adjacent, hypotenuse, and this must be one of these again. So what's the answer? It's also known as pi over 4. It's another one where it would have canceled, and it could have been just pi over 4. But I'm telling you, you can't count on that. You really can't. Yes. Okay, inverse cosine is only possible in these two. He started with the other requirement, was that cosine had to be positive. But you're right, these two get crossed off right off the bat, normally, and then we'd cross off this one. But however you do it, those three get crossed off. Okay, now, I think you got a pretty good handle on this, and I'm going to find out right now. Everybody, grab your pencil or something to write with. Grab your paper, and you're going to go portable. Everybody stand up with your paper and pencil. Fine. All right. Next thing. I want you to take these two rows and push them together. Don't anybody sit in them, but just kind of push these two rows together. These two rows right here get pushed together. And the last two rows get pushed together. Push them together. And now find a spot across from somebody you trust and sit with them. Rapido, por favor. Find somebody that you can know and trust. And if it's somebody you don't know and you can still trust them, that's good. Not groups of 3. You gonna trust that guy in the blue? Scary. Oh, but there's another guy over there who needs you. Perfect. This will work fine. Okay. All right, now, in each of the groups of 2, there is a person on the left. Do you agree? Okay. Person on the left, would you please raise your hand? All right, good. You are the teacher. And the cool part about this is a role-playing deal. You are the teacher. The teacher, of course, doesn't really have to do much. Okay? The other person, the student, is going to be doing the problem in this case. We'll, of course, reverse the roles in a minute, but the teacher, the person on the left, you are going to be helping out the person on the right who's actually doing the problem. Excuse me, gentlemen. I'm talking now. All right, so the person on the left is the teacher. You're playing the role of the teacher. So what would a teacher typically do? You're going to be communicating with that person in this way. Like, you might be saying, if they're stuck, you might be saying, okay, I think the next part you want to do is this. Or students, you can feel free to torture your teacher by asking them questions and say, I don't know what to do next. Can you tell me what to do? And that will force the other person, the teacher, to tell you what they think you should do. All right, so here is a problem. Everybody that is the student, I would like you to try solving this one. And the teacher, you are supposed to kind of look over their shoulder, ask them little questions, or be asked questions by the student. All right, so communicate with each other. Here it is. Sine -1, inverse sine, of cosine of pi over 4. Did we just do that one? I'm sorry. Okay, I got a different one for you. I'm wrong. Sorry. Okay, try a different one. Sine of inverse tangent of -1. So again, at some point, if the student just wants to annoy the teacher, you can say, I don't know what to do. Tell me what to do next. Or, teacher, you can ask them, so why are you doing it that way? Or, all right, so get to work. Solve this one right now. Okay, I know some are not done, but I'll work through it slowly. So if you're still working on it, go ahead. All right, to begin with, this group over here on the right, would you tell us, Mr. Teacher in the blue, how did you start? On the inside, and then did they do a rewrite or not? Okay, so it'll be tangent of, yes, tangent of theta is -1 over 1. Okay, so now what? Okay, where can inverse tangent work? A, S, T, or C? For inverse tangent. All right, A and C is correct, so it can't be here, can't be here. Good. Okay, now how about tangent? Where can tangent be negative? C, and therefore it can't be A. And now, how many of your groups drew your triangle in the right spot? Okay, good. Next step, and the last step is the one where people are going to get messed up if they're going to. -1 for this, 1 for this, but 2 for that. This one right here, I think most of you know it's a 45-degree angle, so you're thinking pi over 4, and if you put pi over 4, you're wrong. Raise your hand if you know the right answer. Ah, it's -pi over 4, because it goes this way. So we'll blame the teacher for that one if you got that one wrong. Okay, now it's a role reversal. This one, I want the teacher to be the main one who does the problem. Oh, you got a good point. We're not done yet. Okay, sorry. Now we got to do sine of that. I thought we were done, but we weren't. The sine hasn't even been done yet. Okay, now if we're going to do the sine on this, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite's here, hypotenuse is here. The answer is -1 over root 2. Sorry, I didn't finish. That was the inside. It was -pi over 4, and then I was doing sine of that. And sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Okay. Now, final answer looks like this. Do you notice that you could not just go like this and this and get that for an answer? That happens several times, but it doesn't always happen. Okay, so don't trust that to happen. Always start on the inside. Sometimes those functions will cancel. All right, moving on. This is the one where I want the person who was the teacher to act like the student. See if you can handle this one. Inverse tangent of cosine of pi. Give it a shot. Person on the right's the teacher now. Person on the left gets stuck. Ask the teacher. Okay, I'm back. I know some of you aren't done yet, but I need to get finished here. So I'm going to start on the inside. I hope you knew enough. Shh, talking quieter. I don't mind if you keep talking as long as you're working on the stuff. But starting on the inside, Cosine of pi. Where the heck is that? Pi is right there. How do I do cosine of that spot? I need to know what that point is. What comma what? That point's -1 comma 0. Then I have to know what cosine is defined as. Cosine is defined as what? Cosine of an angle is x over r. And the radius is 1. So it's x, so it's -1. So that's -1. Done. You get how I just did that? Because cosine of an angle is x over r, and I figured out at this spot right here, the x is -1 and the r is 1, so it's 1. -1, sorry. Negative. Okay, now it's inverse tangent of that. So I go tan -1 of -1, put that over 1. I like to do the rewrite. The rewrite part would look like this. Tan of theta equals -1 over 1, and that's an angle. So now what angle is that? I have to think to myself, where would I have tangent be negative? Tangent, all students take calc. Tangent's positive here and here. So for tangent to be negative, and this original problem had a inverse tangent in it. Oh wait, I am doing inverse tangent. So inverse tangent's only allowed to be here and here, so I have to cross this one out. So therefore I must be in here. And now that I'm down here, -1 and 1 for 2, and what angle is it is the question. And this angle right here, I can tell it's a 45, but it's not a 45. It's a pi over 4, and it's a negative pi over 4. All right. Now, could that have won one where I could just cross these off and get that answer? Nope. So don't trust that technique of just canceling off inverses. It does. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay. So now, I think you have a pretty good feeling for... How many of you had that one right? Raise your hand if your group had that one right. Okay, good. And this is the part where I give you your homework, and you have time to work on it. So would you please get your stuff and go back to your seats. And on the way, would you pick up one of these up in front? And that's all I have for the video for today.